Hello, YouTube divers. This is Water Dive 122, and I want to welcome you all to another episode of Marching Band and Drum Corps Review. So today we are going to be jumping back into the marching band realm of things on this series, and we are going to be talking about, in my opinion, my favorite and the greatest college marching band to ever exist, the Pride of the Mountains Marching Band from Western Carolina University. And I emphasize my opinion because it is literally impossible for me to sound biased when I'm talking about this band, because those of you who have watched my channel or know me personally, you know that I'm a member of this band. I've marched 3 full seasons with Pride of the Mountains, and I'll be going into my 4th and final season with the band this fall. And basically, ever since I was in middle school or in high school, Pride of the Mountains has always been a big dream of mine to join. And in the summer of 2023, I auditioned and I successfully made the band, and it's just been an amazing ride ever since. So what we're going to be doing here today, we're going to be counting down my favorite shows from the Pride of the Mountains Marching Band for the past 13 seasons, which, in my opinion, is their best season, is their best era, if you will. I know we've had some great editions of Pride of the Mountains with 2009, the Sudler Trophy group, and 2011, the group that marched in Pasadena. All those groups are fantastic. But I'm going to specifically be looking at most of the David Starnes era, all of the Dr. Jack Eady era, and the 2 shows I marched in the Matt Henley era, which is the current era of the band. So basically, all of the shows that had either this White Shako or last season's Connect. So we're going to be doing that. So let's get this party started. We're going to start off with numbers 13 through 7 in this part, and then going from number 6 to number 1 in part 2. So let's get started. Coming in at number 13 is the 2016 show We See You. Now, I want to preface this by saying that I do not think that all of these shows are bad. I think that all of them are at least very, very good. And We See You is one of those examples. The mid-2010s of the Starnes era is kind of the era that is least familiar to me, specifically from Street Beats in 2014 all the way up to Take Note in 2017. And We See You is like right smack dab middle in that era. I think there are some good parts to this show. I really liked the second movement, where it was just like very poppy and upbeat. A lot of the Starnes era shows at this time had a lot of poppy second movements, contrast to what the band is doing now, where the second movement's basically treated as a ballad. And all the fantastical elements that make POTM who they are, especially in this era, are placed here. I love the opening movement and the closing movement, and I think the show was pretty well executed. I just think that Pride of the Mountains has had better shows over the years. So with that said, We See You comes in here at number 13. Number 12, we're going to be going to the 2014 show, Street Beats. I really wanted to put this show higher on this list, but I just didn't really find it as memorable as some of the other shows that we're going to be talking about. This show is basically centered around New York, because this was the first season where Pride of the Mountains was invited to march at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City. The first of 2 times they received this honor. I'll get to the other part in the next video. Yeah, I do love this show, and there are some great sets here, particularly the skyscraper set, if you will, is really, really well executed. And I think the percussion feature is really strong in this movement, in this show, rather. But the band just doesn't quite sound as powerful or as big and beefy as some other shows. But make no mistake, Street Beats is a fantastic show, but comes in here at number 12, unfortunately. So next up at number 11 is the show that came right after Street Beats, That's What's Up from 2015. Now, this, out of all the shows we're going to be talking about with Pride of the Mountains, this is the one I was the least familiar with. This in 2017. But yeah, I mean, I liked the show, but again, I just didn't really find it quite as memorable as some of the other shows that we're going to be getting into. And I feel as though that this show just didn't really pull me in, if that makes sense. It didn't have that wow factor that, no, in my opinion, no other college marching band does better than Pride of the Mountains. But I did really like some of the brass features in this. I thought this was one of the stronger POTM brass groups overall. And I also like the percussion as well. I like the funky second movement and the percussion heavy third movement. It was a great show. But overall, That's What's Up. Maybe it'll grow on me over time, but for right now, it ends up here at number 11. So next up at number 10 is Take Note from 2017. As I mentioned with That's What's Up, both of these shows, Take Note is a show that I wasn't all too familiar with before making this list, but I concede that out of all of the mid-2010s David Starnes era shows, this one is the best one of the bunch. The band is super powerful here. They sound super clean, super loud, and super fun. And in my opinion, those are the three main things that you want to see with the Pride of the Mountains show. The percussion group this season was very, very good. The winds were fantastic. The guard was phenomenal this season. But yeah, I think this is another one of the weaker David Starnes era shows, if I'm being totally honest. But make no mistake, I don't think it's a bad show at all. It just goes to show you just how much I love POTM and love almost every single show that they've done in this time. So now we're going to move on. Take Note, very underrated show. I'd go check it out. Okay, so at number 9, we've got Invincible from 2021. This is the show that kickstarted the Jack Eady era of Pride of the Mountains. He was hired as the director of athletic bands at Western Carolina University following the departure of David Starnes. And even though his era only lasted for 3 seasons, I think Invincible is, while it is my least favorite of the 3, it is such an underrated show. Like, coming right off the heels off of a historic show like Believe and the COVID-19 pandemic the following year, oh boy. Invincible, I remember watching this in 2021 and it blew me away. These days, I think the band's done better, but I will concede that this show is a gem in every single way possible. The third movement drumline feature in particular is one of the best. If anything, I will say that the Dr. Eady era of POTM did have some killer drum features in the third part of the show. But yeah, overall, Invincible, highly, highly underrated show. I think it deserves more love. It comes in here at number 9. So now we're moving on to number 8, and we're going to be talking about the 2013 show Generation Next. Now this show is kind of memorable for a number of reasons. I mainly remember the show because for 2 reasons. Number 1, hearing stories from Pride of the Mountains alum and from faculty, specifically Matt Henley, shout out to you. This show had 27 sets just getting on to the field. So the first part of the show, the first movement, if you will, was super, super long. And then the other part I remember about this show is that this had a gyrosphere, like a gyro ball, with a quad drum inside of it. And one of our quad drummers actually went in there and spun around while playing a feature in this show. What more do you want me to say? This was, in my opinion, the first show of this era that really went out in left field and just did a lot of experimentation. And for the most part, the experiments paid off. I really, really like this show. I think the brass, I think the winds, this was another strong wind group, in my opinion. And this also had another fantastic percussion group. One thing that Pride of the Mountains always prides themselves on having is elite percussionists, whether it's in the drum line, the gold or purple drum lines, because we have 2 drum lines, the back ensemble with the guitars and drum sets and bass guitars and keyboards, all the way to the front ensemble with the mallets and auxiliary percussion and synthesizers. Oh yeah, and vocals as well. It's just such an elite group, constantly from year to year. I think Matt Henley is one of the best percussion writers in the marching arts right now. But anywho, getting back to the show, Generation Next is quite literally an extraordinary production, if you will. I love the show a lot, and coming off of a spectacular show from 2012, I think this show was fantastic, but it's definitely one of the most challenging shows to march, I will say. So with that said, Generation Next comes in here at number 8. And now the final show we're going to be talking about in this part, in number 7, we've got another Dr. E era show, 2022's Let It Burn. Now this show is special to me in a bunch of different ways, because if you all remember, way back in 2022, I actually saw Pride of the Mountains play this show live, or at least the opening movement. And yeah, I loved it back then, and I love it now. The opening movement of Let It Burn is still one of the best openers to any show, in my opinion, whether it's a marching band or drum corps. I love it. But the rest of the show just didn't really leave me satisfied. I thought the third movement had another solid drum line and percussion feature, actually featuring the purple drum line within the show. I'm not going to go into all of the nuts and bolts on the gold drum line, the purple drum line, because then we'll be here all day. But needless to say, the gold line marches the halftime shows, and then the purple drum line has their own showdown, third quarter throwdown, and post game. But for this show, they actually combined forces, and it just made for such an awesome experience. I love this so much. I thought the ballad was pretty good as well. But yeah, the first movement I love so much, and Let It Burn is a show that's growing on me. I'm not quite there yet, because I know a lot of people who love this show, but it's on its way up, so to speak. Maybe in a few years it'll finally get to the top, if you will. So with that said, Let It Burn comes in here at number 7. So now we are going to move on to part 2. Thank you so much for watching, my fellow YouTube divers. This is WaterDive122 signing out, ready to dive into more fun on YouTube. Thanks for watching.